I'm Jason, one of the instructors from Krav Maga Self-Defense. I just wanted to have a little bit of a discussion. Maybe previously in the past, and don't get me wrong, I am a believer and follower of this training philosophy where you do train as if you're engaging um, the top level predator, right? Like you're training for the most battle hardened criminal or opponent that you'll ever face. Other terms would be someone that's high on ice or amphetamines that they don't feel pain. So you have to train as if you're facing that, which is a good thing, right? A very good thing. I believe in that training philosophy because that means you really be prepared. You're training to face the worst, and like in all things, and arguably probably an underlying principle in combat operations or law enforcement operations, etc. Anything paramilitary is you prepare for the worst and hope for the best, which is absolutely good logic, and yeah, makes all the sense, right? You have to prepare for the worst day of your life, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm absolutely for that, because I'm about to say is that type of situation can arguably be quite rare or might not even happen to you. But if in the scheme of things, if let's say this is like a point whatever of a percent possibility that will happen to you, the repercussions of that point whatever percent incident or what follows through from that, or the ripples, the collateral damage or the damage to you or to your life, your status quo and all that, it would have a lot of repercussions. So even though might be quite rare or almost impossible for you in the type of lifestyle that you do, preparing for that sort of situation does count, because suddenly that rare situation, if it does happen, everything's on the line. Suddenly everything's on the line, like your life, whoever you're with, you might have third party, or the outcomes. There might be legal ramifications in the end with the outcomes, or it affects you mentally, emotionally, psychological trauma from that. So there is a lot on the line when that does happen. So being as best prepared as you can is a good thing. But just for discussion's sake, and just me thinking about it the other day, it's like dig let's dig a little deeper and analyze this thing. It is a little bit of like a one-coated approach or view into your training, and that is a good view. And if you do just follow that view, you'll do okay. You'll do great, right? But if you think about other aspects around that, let's call it a critical incident, right? We're all preparing for that critical incident where your life is on the line or someone else's life is on the line, your third party, etc. But that critical incident, although rare, and nowadays it can happen, like there's a lot more mental health problems around the world, around society. Of course, the acts of terror, active armed offenders, etc. Uh, but all in all, I do dare say most of the time, and maybe arguably 99% of the time, they are avoidable, right? So if we look into the case of a drug crazed individual that you'll have to face, the likelihood of you suddenly facing that is quite low. Why in the sense of your normal movements? Number one, like what we talked about, avoidance. Talked about it previously, avoidance. If you know that this is a bit of a dodgy area, or there's a lot of criminal activity or drug activity in the area, why would you go there in the first place? All right. Two, a drug crazed individual is not a silent assassin type ambush person. You will see and hear them a mile away, right? So if you look at, there's a few examples. If you hang around Sydney CBD, the town hall, often enough, you'll see, although arguably more harmless than what this example we're thinking of is, but you will see a few people walking there, making noise, all those things on a high, transient, homeless. Just probably the reason why they became homeless is because of the drug addiction, and that's what they live for every day now. So you'll see them, you will notice them. They're loud, they attract attention, and you can easily get out of there and avoid them, right? Even and You don't have to engage either. The authorities are there. You can call 000, call for police assistance, or if they're just being loud and roaming around, why engage them and sort of flirt with danger? You can just leave. Someone else, if they have a problem with them, can call for whatever emergency services. But you yourself can decide to just get up and go, and that's it, and avoid it. Uh, Active armed offender is, although there are recent examples of it, but it's still also quite rare. And there's a lot of the institutions are preparing for that now. So especially the horrific incident at Westfields Bondi Junction, right? Because of that, that would have triggered Westfields as a whole to review and revise their emergency procedures on how to deal with an incident like that. I'm sure they have actively reached out with police, and you have some joint exercises just for their staff to be familiar and be able to enact their procedures and also to test their procedures. So not that, of course, you're totally relying on that, but that is a factor if something like that happens. And of course, you there will be a commotion as well. Hopefully, you're not the first victim, um, but there will be a commotion for you to kind of see what's going on and have a chance to get out of harm's way. Uh, if let's say you're being targeted by that active armed offender to be like the first victim or second victim, like hopefully your awareness, part of your self-defense, right? Be aware of your surroundings, be aware of the environment. There is such a thing called this behavioral observation and suspicious activity recognition that you'll hear. It's one of those buzzwords in like the counterterrorism world, CT world, right, or law enforcement world, BOSAR. But in a way, to oversimplify, that's a formal way of saying um, identifying someone who's being sus, right? So if you observe someone being sus, you can already take some preliminary action to avoid that person. Um, if you look at previous examples, like although you have to be a little bit alert and not too complacent, because it's one of those times where you just go, WTF, why is this person doing this? WTF, and you get lost into your reaction to that person acting in an unusual way or extraordinary way, that you kind of get distracted and don't think that he might be up to something, right? So if you look at the bomber at the Ariana Grande concert in the UK, he was acting sus. He had this big backpack. He was moving like he didn't know where to go. He was looking, because he was looking, searching for a good place to position. So, and leading up to that, a lot of staff and even parents who were there waiting to pick up their kids noticed him, noticed him. And I'm sure a lot of them are going, WTF, this guy. WTF is this guy doing, right? And they kind of, and they, maybe, I'm speculating now, maybe some of them shrug their shoulders because some people do act weird nowadays, but try not to get lost into that and just go, WTF, what's this guy doing? He's acting a little weird, but you know what? I don't trust. He's probably, you might have to be a little more cynical with that view and just assume he's up to badness, and then alert authorities, etc., and get out of there. So facing this would be the ultimate, in terms of training, you're preparing for this ultimate level of survival, because as if you've engaged individuals like this who are hell-bent on harming you or even killing you, right? And that's a good thing, but don't make it your whole thing. Don't make it your whole thing. A lot of, if like I said, we'll call them critical incidents, a lot of these critical incident type things are arguably still avoidable. And if you just apply those early levels of your self-defense, right? Suspicious behavior recognition, a little bit of common sense and intelligence on locations, right? Why go to harm's way? Then you don't have. You'll train for it, but you avoid having to really use it or being put in that situation. Yeah, because yeah, end of the day, we don't go looking for that. We want to avoid. So overall, you don't want to be one dimensional, right? There's there's um there's a full. You need that well-roundedness, and don't forget um, all these other aspects of your self-defense that are arguably more important, or although not as sexy, not as amazing to see because it's not techniques, but has very good results for you. Just being able to be, uh, just to play it cool, be the gray man, be not noticed, but you're noticing everything, your awareness of surroundings, early detection. If you look at in the main concepts of war right nowadays, you have all these radar early warning systems. So the side, let's say in a battle, the side that detects the other one first has the advantage. Same with us. We want to be able to detect a problem first before it even becomes a problem, and then we get out of there and we don't have to deal with that problem. To learn more KMG self-defense techniques, train with us at KravMagaSelfDefense.com.au.